Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, February the 2nd, 6:32 p.m. Thank you so much for everybody that's live right now. About 10 people joining us. We have a packed podcast today. So if you're listening or watching, thank you so much for your support. Today, we're going to be discussing, the Mexico beach vibes. We're also going to be discussing the transfer news, the latest news for transfers right now for Orlando City. Alex Freeman, forever Lion for sure, going to Villarreal. Also, we're going to be talking about Dusan's deal that fell off. So we'll discuss that and the implications. The latest on Iago, which we have a lot of good news regarding that one. Justin Ellis and also Nolan Miller. We're going to be discussing that as well. New DP signing this window. We'll debate on that today, as well as the opening day starting 11 predictions for Orlando City. How's Orlando City looking like depth-wise? Early season expectations, and also kick off the soccer and the final whistle, which I saw the pictures of the final whistle. Pretty cool concept, I'm going to say. I was kind of envious because here we don't have nothing like that. So stay tuned for more the Loud and Proud Orlando tonight. We'll read all your comments. Thank you for everybody that's joining. And with me, I have John and David. What's up, John? How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Yeah. Just off season, right? Rolling through the transfer news. Things change quickly. That's why you should listen to LPO because we got the latest.
There you go. David, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Doing well, guys. Excited to get back at it. We had a kind of a slow end to the weekend for the boys in Mexico, and then all of a sudden, I don't know. Today felt like it was slow, and then it picked up real quick, like towards the end of the day, and I was like, what is going on? Everyone doing their business at the end of the day, I guess, or all the news breaking at the end of the day. So that was kind of wild. But hey, we're here to break it down. Kind of let you know what's going on with it. I know a bunch of us fired off some tweets and some other stuff going on, so it'll be some interesting stuff to break down today for sure.
Yeah, and for sure, the Lions just wrapped up their third consecutive preseason training camp in Cancun, Mexico. While the vibes are usually focused on fitness and team bonding, this year's trip is crucial for integrating a heavy influx of new Brazilian talent and also a lot of youth. So reports from camp suggest very high intensity. You guys could probably see it on the Orlando City socials, on the team socials, a high intensity environment with Oscar Pareja emphasizing reload as well as Ricardo Moreira as well. Reload, not like a complete reset. After a very disappointing end to the 2025 playoffs, obviously, I guess we can start by talking, about one of the biggest news is obviously, everybody's putting a lot of these pictures about family and how everything is, very tight. And it seems like they're having a lot of not only trainings, but a lot of fun as well while doing it. What are some of your, what are some things that you've, kind of pros and cons, right? Concerned. To me, at least, it'll be the depth a little bit, especially defensively now. But what are some of the pros that you see of them going to Mexico? Let's start with John, and if you want to dive in real quick for that, and then we'll go to David.
I mean, beach vibes, right? That's it. That's all. No, obviously there's a lot of good from the camaraderie that they've got going on. That's the whole point where they're all away. It's the, time spent not only doing the training where they're doing, multiple training sessions a day, but also all of the bonding and all the activities that you saw them like boat building. And, it's about getting the new guys integrated, making them feel welcome, building relationships, building rapport between old players and the new players. So it's always great to see. I just think how much can we really get from the little snippets we get here and there, right? We don't really know too much about what's going on during preseason. That's kind of the way it should be. Like we're supposed to be waiting until the actual season starts to judge a lot of these players. It's really about fitness and who, where we see maybe Oscar's doing stuff differently tactically, or which players are playing in what position. That's the kind of stuff that really interests me out of, the Mexico reports, let's say.
Yeah, obviously, if you see some of the pictures, they had, boat building, and they had running, and they had all kinds of, fun, as well as a lot of strenuous workouts. Obviously, some of the newcomers like Ojeda, also a lot of the youth like Tiago, Pedro Leal, hopefully we see him more with the first team. What are some of the kind of snippets that you've seen from preseason, David, that you feel confident, and other things that can maybe get you a little worried?
Yeah, I think it's like you were saying before, this is the third straight year they've gone down to Mexico, and Oscar really uses this as an opportunity to kind of bring the guys together and kind of get them to build a little bit more and things like that. And obviously they do some fun activities like this build the boat thing that they were doing, where they were put off into different teams, and we're supposed to put together a raft that could float and everything like that. For those of you that don't know, the lady that's in the front there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she's the sports psychologist for the team, if I have that right. So it might not be a name or somebody you've seen very often, but the team has really, from what I understand, embraced the idea of like the sports psychology part of it. So a lot of the bigger clubs are doing that now as well. So you'll see stuff like that. But overall, I thought it seemed like a really fun week. They did a lot of like different things and mixed in with a lot of different groups. And I think the best thing you saw all week was things like when we got the training session with Duncan, where Duncan was mic'd up and he was going around and talking to everybody. And it was like him and Pasalic and Atuesta and some other folks in there. Brecalo was a little camera shy, so he told Duncan to kick rocks. But, some of the fun stuff like that. We've obviously seen Wilder having a great time out at training. He was doing that before they went to Mexico, but he was having a real good time when he was in Mexico. So you just love to see not only Wilder back, but having sort of the great, like, jovial mentality that he always tends to have and things like that. So I thought that was great. We got a sneaky scrimmage in there. We weren't expecting a scrimmage. It wasn't on Orlando City's schedule or anything like that. So if you guys didn't hear, we got a sneaky scrimmage against Fury FC because they were also training in Mexico. So that was kind of interesting. The club did post like the morning of to say, hey, we're doing a scrimmage with Fury. Here's this. Both clubs were kind of radio silent for most of the scrimmage until Orlando City did score their goal. If you didn't watch it, I recommend it because Angulo made some kids look dumb. He put some moves on some guys. So that was really cool. And then, of course, all the sniffer dogs out there that like to see like what Orlando City was running. I'm counting all the guys in the background being like, all right, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. So we're all trying to like piece together what Oscar might have been working on and things like that. So that was kind of cool. But I think the biggest downer, and for some reason people caught this late in the week, even though LPO talked about it last week on Monday, they caught in the team photo that Janssen wasn't there. It became a big deal, I saw on social media in the last couple of days. As we reported to you guys last week, we were told by multiple sources that Robin Janssen is indeed injured. He picked up a knock sometime in the first week of scrimmage because he did go through the medical at Orlando Health. You see him in those videos and those pictures. He was at training the first day. All the reporters that were there the first day said that he was there and everyone was present and all that. So he did pick up a knock between when medicals happened and between that first week. We have confirmation that it is more serious than we were expecting, unfortunately. So it does look like it's going to be rather difficult for him to navigate. Thankfully, I'll say, to be the optimist in me, we still got, what was it, 3 weeks now, 3.5 weeks until the season kicks off. However, I think in sort of the impressions that the three of us got, I don't know how optimistic we are that he's going to be fit and ready to go by opening week. That might be your breaking news for tonight to start off, is that I don't know if Janssen's going to make opening day. So I would, as a fan, maybe tamper your expectations and not expect to see Janssen on the sheet. This would be the second opening day in a row, by the way, that he'll miss. Because remember, he picked up a knock when they were training before the match opening day last year. Remember, he had to be replaced last minute by Brekalo. So we'll see what that looks like. Really unfortunate, of course, but I don't want to be Debbie Downer on the people that weren't there and how it didn't work out. I just love, and I think basically Keeb said it in the chat, the young guys really seem to be bonding quickly, and I love that about this year's team so far. I'm not saying it's unique to this year's team. I'm sure in past years the young guys have bonded pretty quickly, but it just seems like everything that we're seeing, whether it's the scrimmage, whether it's whether it's just the team bonding activities like the boat activity, whether it's they're riding their bikes into training, Harvey's birthday that we talked about last week where they were all celebrating Harvey's birthday, just they all seem to be like a really big part of each other's sort of like, development and getting along with everybody. And of course, it helps with all the cultural connections that already exist with the club, right? We already had that nice foundation of the South American sort of flair last year with Atuesta, with Angulo, with Poppy, with, I know we don't want to say his name, but Muriel and all those people, right? And now we're adding to it, but we're adding, as John likes to say, we're turning into, what is it, Rio de Orlando or whatever you like to call it? We're adding, we're adding the Brazilian flair this year. So, and like Ricardo, of course, can help these guys assimilate and stuff because he's made the move from Brazil up to Orlando and things like that, so he understands what that's like. So he's helping guys like Thiago and Otavio and things like that. And then of course if Iago gets done, which sounds like we're in the right direction there, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but that's my biggest thing. I think is that we're just really starting to see these nice like connections, and I think that's what takes a team that maybe doesn't look the strongest on paper. Like we're not a Miami, we're maybe not even a Nashville, but if we've got our chemistry in a better spot than those teams, we can beat them, right? Because we have the chemistry to match with it. We know what each other's strong suits are. We know where so-and-so is going to be, how they want the pass, how they want this, right? So all that stuff is really important. So it seems like it was a very successful trip to Mexico. I'm glad the boys are back. I'm sorry the weather got worse for them over here than it was in Mexico, but just really cool stuff.
Now, you mentioned Janssen, and we'll talk about the transfer in just a second. But personally, I think we should have been prepared for a life without Robin Janssen. Minutes wise, last year, I felt Schlegel was more reliable than Robin Janssen, even though Janssen had probably more minutes in the playoffs for Orlando. 90 over 76 for Schlegel, but overall, I mean, you're talking about over 300 more minutes that Rodri Schlegel had right there as a center back starting, squad. So, I understand that he played injured. I understand people are already throwing the towel. I saw it online too, but part of kind of moving on and building a different type of squad is about, getting some reliability. And I feel like maybe this is just, God or whoever you believe in, way of saying, hey, maybe it's time to bank on a different strategy here, and I think it's time, I have a feeling, I saw, and again, we're not going to reveal the sources, but what I saw, the big, I'm not going to say, but it looks lengthy. So, that's all I'm going to say.
And Luis, as a reminder to the fans, Robin Janssen, was it 2 or 3 years ago, suffered the stress fracture in his right foot.
Right.
And so from what we understand, it is a lower body injury. We don't have the exact specifics because, of course, as you guys know, the club has not given us any information. Luis did reach out to the club. They did not have a comment for us at the time. I believe they still don't have a comment for us. So
I haven't gotten my text back.
So that's my worry, right? Because again, from whenever he had that injury 2 or 3 years ago, he's obviously 2 or 3 years older now. And if he's got another issue with, let's say, his foot, let's just use that as an example, that's concerning, right? That surgery took him out. What was it, 12 to 16 weeks, I believe, the last time, if I have that right? Or it might have been 8 to 12 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks is what had him out last time. That's 3 months. That's quarter of the season, right? So it's very concerning on that front, because if that's what it is, that kind of shows us, and we've talked about it a little bit earlier in the offseason, Father Time might have caught him. Like, I hate to be that guy, but Father Time might be knocking and say, hey, Robin, I don't know that the 2 years you were going to get out of this anyway. Sorry. We might not even be able to give you a full year now. And I feel bad for the guy, because obviously in his own right, he is in that club legend status, right? I mean, he came in and solidified a defense that leaked goals. I mean, we were like an open net, so, in those middle years, right? And so I feel bad for that, and I really don't want this to be the way that he goes out. And I'm not like making his tombstone now, right? I'm not saying that, but there is a level of concern that I think you have to have, especially going into the season and seeing this kind of stuff before we've even, kicked the ball for real.
There should be an organic, pass the baton to a younger center back while still maintaining his legend status for the club, but already knowing that this may be, the final year. You know what I mean? And so, personally, I don't like to see him gone over an injury, and I think the club has to be ready to prepare live without him. I feel, and now you're talking about young studs like Dusan that was no longer coming, but unfortunately he got we'll discuss in just a second, but we got studs like Iago coming in from Flamengo. We have also, other options within the OCB. And possibly targeting another center back, still open. The transfer window is still open. So now we're gonna read some comments real quick here. It says here, it will be bittersweet to see Robin go, but Father Time remains undefeated, especially with the injuries. Is basically key. Thank you, Landon. I also love the selfie celebration. There you go. Hello to Orlando fans from Manchester City fans supporter. There you go. Thank you to Manchester City, appreciate you. But Landon, he did selfie pose that Pineda loves so much with some. How made him a good player? I don't know what you're talking about, guys. FHRITP, that's all I'm gonna say. Landing 21-24. Facu had no right foot. There you go. Do you think we'll see Taifi break into the first team considering Alex is gone, or do you think we'll sign a new right back? No, that's what I was going to get at, John. I know that we discussed this, I think, in our chat earlier this week. We all three believe in Taifi, and we all think that Taifi has it, especially the way he's been training and putting, work. I'm confident to see him, break out in the first team squad. I mean, how do you see this, John? I mean, do you feel Oscar may be confident? I know Dusan could play right back also, but he's no longer coming into the club.
I mean, this is the issue, really. Is like Ricardo has signed a bunch of young guys, so Oscar has to get used to playing young guys because they're all young guys. Like it is what it is, right? And I think Alex Freeman was an incredible young right back who arguably should have got his chance sooner. And I think that would have been different if we'd have seen 2 years of Alex Freeman, which we could have seen, but Oscar didn't really give him a chance till last year. So I fear the same thing could happen with Taifi if Oscar doesn't give him a chance, right? I feel like this guy is ready. We feel like he's ready. It's the obvious choice to put in as right back. He played minutes last year. I think maybe you want to get another right back who's MLS experienced to have coverage there. So we've got two good right back options. But I think Taifi is the guy. I think it's time to roll the dice on him and give him his shot. But again, like I said, we have this issue now that we have a lot of young players. And if Oscar's averse to playing young players, then that's an issue. I mean, he can't really be. He has to. So Taifi is the next man up. Put him in. It's the most obvious thing to do.
Now, what if, we all feel like he's ready? What if in the first 3 matches we see that maybe he's having a little bit of a challenge? What would you do then, David?
Well, I think that's the bigger thing is that we have to understand as a fan base that if we roll the dice on the young players, which Ricardo seems to be pushing us in the direction of, they're going to make mistakes, right? They're young guys that are trying to get used to it. I will say this, out of all the young guys that are sort of in that same sphere, in that pocket that we have, Taifi's got a lot of time with OCB, which I know there's a step up in performance, but going back to sort of Luis's kind of comments that he said the last couple weeks, we talk about consistency. He's been talking about consistency a lot, right? And Luis is onto something there. And by consistency, when you have a team that's consistent and builds depth, as John just said, it's next man up. If Freeman gets sold and he's gone, it's next man up. If Pasalic in the summer, balls out for us, goes with Croatia in the World Cup and balls out again and gets sold, it's next man up. Like it's that's just the mentality of what it is, right? Ricardo's going to do the things he needs to do to build what he thinks is a team that's going to win titles. Remember, that's what he told Gramajo at the beginning of the year. He's going to put together a team that can win multiple titles. And I'm going to hold him to that word, because if he doesn't, guess who's going to be the first person that's going to stand up there and say, hey, Ricardo, you said this team could go and win titles. And I'll sit here and say, where are the titles? And so the question is going to be, are the players correct? Is the coaching correct? And so one of the things that we always fall back on, and sort of Luis has kind of brought up in the beginning, is Oscar doesn't have a choice. He has to play who's on this roster, period. And I don't want to see, personally, I don't want to see another situation where we're taking a player and putting them in a position that's not their A1 position, hoping that they can morph into something that's better than nothing, and we're fine. I know the ongoing joke online, and trust me, I enjoy it, I think it's funny, is which center midfielder is going to go play right back. And I get it. It's funny because there's truth in it too, and it's kind of sad in that respect. But I don't want to see that. I want my central midfielders to be the central midfielders. I want to see the right backs be the right backs. And listen, we've been trumpeting Taifi, and maybe it's because maybe we like him a little too much. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. But it's not just Taifi that has a chance there, right? Yearwood's had a good preseason, minus the red card that he got in Lexington. But again, I don't want to hold it over the guy. We all make mistakes. Let's move on. He's trying to get a roster spot. You can understand that. That's another guy who's probably going to challenge for the spot. Reed Brown is traditionally a left back. He's played left back for OCB, but in his academy, he has played both sides of fullback. And guys, if you have not seen Reed Brown, he's a tank. The kid is huge. He's a similar size to what Alex Freeman was. So if you're looking for a similar build or a similar, something to that degree, if you can get Reed Brown some reps at right back and give him a chance, awesome. The concern is, and we've talked about this a lot, and I know we're going to talk about the overall season in a little bit, is are you willing to take that risk with the first couple of games that you have and end up behind the 8 ball? Because you don't want to drop the games against Red Bulls. You don't want to drop the home game against Inter Miami. So if you drop both of those games, and let's say, unfortunately, Taifi just has some honkers of some games out at right back, you're immediately sliding down the table in the East. And I know 2 games maybe at the end of the year is not going to kill you, but it's going to hurt going into the start of the season. So I think the biggest decision to sort of wrap up this idea, because I know I've been all over the place here, to wrap up this idea, Ricardo and Poppy have to get in a room together, which I'm sure they already have. They were in Mexico having a grand old time down there, and I'm sure the conversations came up when Alex got sold. They've got to have the conversation of, Ricardo's got to ask Poppy, do you think that talent is on the roster? Number one. If Poppy says no, then Ricardo needs to say, okay, what are you looking for in a right back that we can try to get for you soon-ish? Because we can't wait too long on getting a right back in the door. We're 3 weeks away from when the season starts. We're 2 weeks away from our tune-up season ticket match against Montreal. And to me, the team should be in place by the time we get to that Montreal match. We shouldn't be adding pieces the same week as the Montreal match or right after the Montreal match. So that's the bigger conversation that has to be had. I think all of us kind of agreed. We've got a lot of GAM, so all of our nerds in the chat that are all about the MLS roster rules and whatnot. We've got a lot of GAM. Do you go out into the league and do you splash some of that GAM to bring in a veteran right back that's been doing this for a little while, who understands the league, and maybe they're more plug and play, and you're just looking for somebody who can come in and do that? Do you go to the league and go, hey, can I get your first backup or your second backup? Because I just want somebody behind Taifi in case he struggles for a couple of games, and that's what this guy's role is going to be. There's just a lot of questions that have to be asked here, but more than anything, Ricardo had to know that Freeman was going to go at some point. We talked about this last week when the news broke. There has to be a succession plan for him. It's the same thing with Muriel, right? When Muriel went out the door, we said the same thing. There's got to be a succession plan for him. I'm going to believe Ricardo until he proves us that he doesn't, but I feel like there's something there.
No, want to read comments, and then I want to speak about that a little bit. This is Booty Sweat 123. Just start Taifi, save all our money for a DP9 post World Cup. There you go. What's up with the New York?
I like the idea that we don't have money. I like we're
poor.
Well,
it's just that it's just the team
save the money. It's not. There's plenty of money. We can spend the money. Yeah. It's fine.
It's just, and I'll speak about that in just a second. So what's up with New York City at MLS? They're in top middle of the table. We don't know yet. New York City is a member of Manchester City Group. I know that. Yep. Thank you, sir. Very unfortunate. Our first 3 games are in the New York Rebels, Miami, New York City. We're for sure going to see a lot of hot takes in March. I mean, again, yes and no. I mean, right now, unless you know the number, I mean, the most, I mean, unbiasedly speaking, of course, you see a roster that it's, about 70% of it is completely brand new. You see names that you've probably never seen in your life, obviously common sense. And then you see the same old folks from Inter Miami, and then they get the guy from Mexico, and all of that, Bertarami or whatever his name is. You see that, and yes, but I mean, again, guys, I mean, it's kind of like crying over spoiled milk, I mean, why do we care so much about what Inter Miami is doing right now? What we got to worry about is winning. And again, there's a lot of inconsistency with a lot of things that I see online. On one end is like, oh, we need youth. Taifi needs minutes, but then on the end it's like, oh, we're gonna lose all the games. Let's just throw away the season. So it's either one way or the other. You know what I mean? In the end, you guys got to understand the team is gonna put on a product and it's gonna speak on the pitch. It reminds me of last year what happened with Pasalic. So when Pasalic was announced, people were hating on the fact that Pasalic was coming in. Oh, it's not a good enough signing. Facu Torres, what's going on? And so what did he do? He proved it on the pitch that he was the right man for the job. And so, I mean, we cannot at the moment, I mean, it'd be very irresponsible to dismiss the players that they've currently signed to the team because we haven't seen them play. So we can make that judgment right now. Now, what we can do is hope that this is going to work out. And I think the way the team is signing is consistently the same it's been since Musi and Oscar and Moreira took over the team. It's low cost, high reward, high upside. That's the way they've been signing. Now, they've used this year, like David was saying at some point, and also John at some point, over $10 million in signings of under 22s. So it's a little bit much opening up the wallet on that type of level. Now, if you want to see the older model, which is what Miami has, and we can discuss that later on, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. And I don't think our market will suffice that because we still struggle to put butts in seats. So it says, I love David on the show, by the way, 99 overall edition, says Mr. Donnie Moore. Thank you so much, sir. Landon says Cartagena look amazing the preseason match. If Cartagena is
agreed,
right, next man up back to Peru.
And I think, and Luis, I think that goes to somebody made a comment about our defense, like letting in a lot of goals a little bit earlier. I think Donnie Moore had said something about it. I think that's where you're going to see the difference between this year and last year, because Wilder's going to really lock down the middle of the field for us, and he's going to be focused, unlike Cesar was last year, unfortunately. But Cartagena, like, he looks like he's back to the same level he was before, maybe even a little bit higher of a level. I've seen him, I don't know if you guys caught this, but he's been wearing the armband in some of these scrimmages as well. So Oscar really trusts this guy to lead. I know in past shows, we kind of collectively talked about Wilder's sort of a leader in the locker room, and I'm sure he's taken these guys under his wing. And I don't need to tell Luis this. Luis has probably been following Cartagena for a while. But what I really like to see, though, is I love the fact that Poppy is now giving him the trust of things like, wearing the armband and showing these guys, because that was because I'll be honest, he wasn't one of the names I thought of initially when I thought who could be another captain if Janssen's out for a little while or what that looks like. But Cartagena's kind of a slam dunk for something like that, right? And the nice thing is when he defends, he's going to potentially slide into he likes to sometimes slide into the middle between the two center backs, and it sort of makes like a back five, really, because he slides into the middle, and then of course the two fullbacks are on the side, and then you've got both center backs next to him. So he's really going to help us stay defensively solid on things like that. And also, if you guys didn't know, his aerial win rate is one of the best in any of the midfielders we've had at Orlando City. I went back and looked at the numbers. It's kind of nuts what that looks like. With FBref losing some of those numbers now, it's a little harder to find, but has one of the highest like win rates out of midfielders for Orlando City in Orlando City's history, which shouldn't surprise anybody. But those are the things you're going to get back, because when we talk about defense, we're not just talking about the back four or the goalkeeper. We're also talking about, as Luis loves to talk about, the double pivot, right? It's Poppy's favorite thing. He loves the double pivot, and he's got a lot more tools in his toolbox this year to make the double pivot either very defensive and attacking, or even double attacking if he wants to go, crazy with it and wants to put, I don't know, Brian Ojeda and Atuesta on at the same time. He certainly can and let it run wild, but he's got a lot of options there. So let's not be too down on the defense yet, even with Janssen out. I still think we have the right pieces to be defensively solid down the spine.
Now, talking about the defense, we're going to discuss some of the news that we broke out this morning. Unfortunate news: Dušan Stojinović, what's it called? Slovenian?
Yeah, Slovenian, yeah.
Slovenian king, number 2.
Number 2, yep.
Unfortunately, he got injured. His club completely botched it. They put it in a game. He got injured. And now the deal is off. Orlando City is not partaking into signing him because obviously he's injured, and he looks like he's gonna be out for a while. So with those news, it kind of sent a buzz because he was going to be the kind of look like the direct replacement, either as a center back or as a right back, because he could play both positions. What are your thoughts, John, on those news and the depth that we have on that side?
I mean, not good. Foolish Jagalonia. I mean, if your name wasn't stupid enough, you've gone done something really stupid. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I shouldn't joke because it's sad for Dusan, right? He was planning a whole life. He wanted to come here. Yeah. I'm sure David Breckless talked to him on the phone, told him how great Orlando is. We're going to get a new center back. There's space in the back line. He would have come in and really be able to compete. And now, just because I don't know what you're doing. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's unprofessional and just dumb, really, is all I got to say about that. And I feel for the guy because he, planning his life. And now, yeah, rightfully so, we back out. We've learned. We're not going to get ourselves in a Gaston Gonzalez situation. I don't want any of that. So it makes total sense to me. It just sucks. And puts a lot of weight now on with Janssen's injury, like we've been saying, no Dusan. We got to figure out center back like ASAP.
Now, people, obviously, you guys have to understand, the news change hour to hour, day to day, and I mean, and I guess we've been doing this since 2022, guys. I understand it's probably some of y'all's first time watching.
We went through the Duncan McGuire days.
Exactly.
This is nothing.
So we were reporting, and that's why when we reported, we put the source there, and so even the source, it may not pan out, the club, you don't have clubs feeding you news as an independent outlet. There is other people that their own PRs called, hey man, you can you give Orlando news, bro? Okay, because they know that one tweet of that guy or girl is going to have thousands of tweets. So if they want to get a point across, they would rather not send it to Luis Carlos Pineda and LPO or John or David. They're going to give it to the Weeby. They're going to give it to, the big kahunas, right? Because they're going to have a little bit of more reachability. So it's common sense, right? So when somebody reports that, it could change within an hour. So it's really not like oh, you're selling smoke. Oh, it's wrong information. It's just a matter of you got to report the news. And now, when it comes to Dusan, man, the kid was devastated. I mean, the dude wanted to come here. He talked to Brecalo, according to sources. And when David broke out that stuff, I read his tweet. I was like, geez, that is sad. Thoughts on that? If you want to give a little bit more insight, David, regarding Dusan.
Yeah,
so did a full study on him, and it was fantastic. But I mean,
yeah. So some of you, if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen a couple of days, like 2 days ago, I think it was 3 days ago. I broke the news because I heard from Polish sources. So I heard from the other side that Dusan was a Lion. Deal was done. Fee was agreed to. Dusan liked his new contract options. I believe it was a 3-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, with an option for a 4th. He was actually about to get on a flight to Orlando. I have that confirmed, no doubt about it. I was given some information to prove that. I'm obviously not going to share that or anything like that. I mean, it's late anyway. But what really frustrates me about this entire process is, number one, Jagiellonia was looking to make money off of a couple of players this window. If you've been following some MLS news, you might have seen that they're loaning an attacking player to Vancouver with an option to buy, which they think is going to be likely that he's going to be bought. We were going to be the second sort of biggest sale that they were going to have on a player that they liked a lot at the club, but knew they couldn't give him sort of the salary demands he was looking for. Mm-hmm. They figured when his contract was going to come to an end, he was going to probably look for greener pastures anyway. And then, of course, he liked the move to Orlando because, the environment, the money he was going to get paid. And then, of course, it was super helpful to have David Brecalo, right? Then we kind of get the news today that comes out rather quickly that's like, hey, all of a sudden, he's not going to make the move happen. He picks up a knock. So I did my due diligence and reached out to the sources that reached out to me before in Polish media. And I can say verbatim that somebody told me, oh, shit, I didn't think this was going to happen. I was told he was held out of trainings and this was good to go. That clearly didn't happen. So what I'm going to say, and I'm only going to say this once, is egg on the face of Jagiellonia for continuing to do this when you were in the final stages of doing a deal. Why in the blue blazes would you continue to allow this guy train when you already had the deal locked up? You already had the extra incentives tacked on there. There was a sell-on fee for Jagiellonia as well. So you just dropped the ball on 3 different things all at once. And you're letting the player down, who's now frustrated that he's injured, number one, and secondly, that he can't make the move to the United States. I mean, how much boneheaded stuff could you have added to this to make this even dumber than it already was? Like, and again,
forgot to press send.
Yeah, and like I mean, I just don't get it. Like I get it. Like Jagiellonia has a season that they're playing in. They're having a good season from what I understand so far this year and all that kind of stuff. But why have the guy in training when you don't need to? You know he's going to have a medical. He was literally lined up to have his medical the day after he got injured in that training. And then they stopped, and then Orlando City stopped everything after, of course, they heard the news that he's injured. Now, obviously, solid on Orlando City for saying, we're not doing this. If he's injured, we're not doing it. Because for 2 reasons, right? Gaston Gonzalez haunts us to this day. We did right by Gaston, don't get me wrong. We helped with his surgery, his rehab, and all that kind of stuff. But we don't need another player like that. And then what's the other problem that we have right now? Our best center back, and I'm putting that in quotes because he's not healthy right now, is not healthy. So we can't go out and get another center back who's not healthy in the hopes that he gets healthy by the time the season starts. I don't know. Like, I don't know how serious that knock is. It just stinks because we're so... Like, we're not super late in the process, but we're late in the process, right? We want to bring players in. Fans are frustrated that we're kind of waiting this long to bolster our defense, and we just lost a guy who could not only cover center back, but cover right back, reliably, and we lost it all in one foul swoop because his parent club couldn't take him out of 2 flipping trainings. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I know it seems stupid that I'm this frustrated about it, but it's so dumb because it was a win-win for everybody involved. It was a win for the player. It was a win for us. It was a win for Jagalonia. Like, nobody was going to be upset about this move going through, and then all of a sudden we see this, and like I just quoted from the journalists that reached out to me, they were flabbergasted. They're like, what the heck is this club doing? And so now it's going to have not just us, but other MLS clubs think twice about interacting with some of these clubs if they know they're not going to protect their players going into a move.
John, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say it's a rookie move, right? That's a rookie move. I also thought, like, does this guy have kids? Because he told them they were moving to Disneyland, and then he had to cancel that.
Right.
That is devastating if you're a child of, I don't know, but it's just ridiculous, yeah. And good on us for getting out of it before, right?
Yeah.
And I also remember we signed David Brecalo last, was it 2 years ago in the January window, and he came with an injury.
He had a groin injury.
Took him so, like, he missed all the preseason. Basically, it took him forever to get in the team.
And I kept telling, I remember he was another one, sort of like people were hating on Pasalic. I was another one that said, guys, wait for this guy to get healthy. Because when David Brecalo was going to get healthy, I was like, he's good. He just isn't healthy, and he had that groin injury. I don't know why we went out and got Brecalo when we did, to be honest with you, because of the source of his injury. I thought it was kind of weird that we were taking a flight on that. Maybe we thought he was farther along than he was, or whatever that is. I don't know. But what I can say, though, which I think is really funny to wrap up this whole sort of story, because obviously, guys, if you haven't, we're not going to go back for Dusan. It's not like we're going to wait for the summer and be like, if he's healthy, we're going to bring him back in. But that's not what Polish media thinks. So Polish media thinks, and again, one of the people that reached out to me,
we're going to come back.
He said to me and said, hey, I think you guys will be back in the summer. And I was like, you want to put money on it? Because I don't think so. Like, I think we're going to turn our attentions to somewhere else. Yeah. And this guy was devastated for Dusan. He was like, no, you guys can't do that. Like, he really wants to join, blah, 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 blah. I said, listen, if we've got one spot open and we think maybe he can take us over the top, then maybe. But, like, I wouldn't count your chickens, man. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Or Orlando City summer center back side, like, nah, that's just, we would never in the summer.
Plus,
I mean, our last defender signing wasn't great, so I don't know that we want to go do that again.
Correct. I mean, plus you have, like, your pipeline of kids coming up from OCB, the Tyree Browns, you have the Taifis, you have, other options.
Platts will be healthy by mid-season. Archange will be healthy by mid-season. They're both, if you guys don't know, these OCB guys, really big defensive prospects as well. Both of them suffered, I believe, knee and ankle injuries respectively, so they missed some time in the offseason, but they are they're heck of players. Like, they're good players. And don't forget as well, guys, we assume that Nolan Miller will get a senior contract. We talked about that last week. It hasn't been finalized yet, but I believe the team I think yesterday was a travel day for them to get back from Mexico, and I believe they had today off, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, Luis, so correct me if you know anything differently. But that's why I don't think you saw any pictures or anything come out today, because I believe today was sort of a rest day from the boys and everything like that. But we still expect Nolan Miller to get signed, so I think he'll be your other sort of younger guy that comes in and gets signed and things like that. Just what a frustrating scenario. And then the fact that Polish media, bless their heart, think we're going to go back for him in the summer, and I just don't see it. I don't see how it's going to happen.
Let's read some comments. It's basically, Keith, I think Wilder is going to make a massive difference. And to your credit, when it's paired with Brian Ojeda, it's a lethal combo. Hopefully, man. Hopefully God hears you, man. Frankie Cosmos says, what the hell is the F is his off season, man? The stained in the last training session. What the hell are they doing in Polish practices?
Couldn't tell you.
They're
idea.
Doing like the whole Rocky, Rocky 6. He goes into the Rocky 4 when he goes into the Russian wilderness. You know what? Logs.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, if you've ever seen the movie Dodgeball, where the German team slaps each other before the dodgeball match, that's kind of they just slap each other's like legs and stuff, and like, I don't know.
Landon says, I agree with Dave 100%. David Speed, in fact, is copacetic Buddha. Thank you so much. Kenneth Allen, honestly, probably for the best if he didn't get hurt there. Could have gotten hurt on his first training year, which would have been worse. I totally agree with you.
Could be.
And with that, we have some good news, obviously. Right now, I'm looking at X, and it's all over Brazilian media now. Brazilian media right now, it's saying, I know Vene Casagrande, which is is like the Tom Bogert of Brazil right now. He broke the news that Orlando City had put an firm offer of 1.5 million for 4 years for Iago, and the club is going to sign it. Essentially saying, now that was about over an hour ago or a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that a lot of outlets saying he's pretty much an Orlando City player, like straight up.
Yeah.
So those are great news because this kid is a champion, and a lot of people, a lot of fans from Flamengo are saying, what the hell is Flamengo doing sending this kid to the MLS? This kid is not MLS. This kid's for Europe. This kid is like too big for the MLS. Like, what the hell are you guys doing there? But, they, again, a fan is passionate, and it's, you have to understand, you know what I mean? You have to understand the kid his contract was up, and he was going to walk on it free. So it's either sell him now and try to make some money, money back on their investment. And that's exactly what Flamengo is doing. So why Orlando City? Because they have a good relationship with the club, number one. They have a good relationship with MLS. MLS pays more than sending him to Ecuador, Argentina, even the championship. They give more minutes in MLS with a similar level of physicality like the championship, obviously with more upside because they're going to be able to succeed a little more.
I think that's the best point, Luis, though, is the playing time, right? That's why Iago wanted to get somewhere where he got playing time. Because if you guys don't follow Flamengo a lot, which I don't know how many Brazilian fans we have in our chat, but if you don't follow Flamengo, they have such a log jam at so many positions at Flamengo because they just pump out talent all the time. And then when they're not pumping out talent, they're buying the best talent in Brazil when they're not pumping it out. So, for example, they brought in, I believe his name is Vital from Internacional. Yeah, he was considered one of the best defenders in Brazil last season. So they went in and bought him on top of having Leo Pereira, which should be a name that's familiar for you. And then they already had Danilo. They already had a couple of other guys. So it was like, where was Iago going to go? He also just aged out of the U20 bracket because at Brazil it's a hard age out. So as soon as you're over 20, it's like no more can you play at the U20s. And so this guy, as you know, if you've been following my Twitter, you've probably seen me talking about it every match for Flamengo. He isn't even making the bench. He doesn't make the match day squad. They're leaving him out every single week and just leaving him out and leaving him out and leaving him out. So as for the player, it's like I can't progress my career if I'm not getting playing time. So what's the best thing you could do? Go to a team that loves the Brazilians, because as John loves to celebrate us, we've got all the Brazilians in Orlando, right? We're kind of rivaling what Miami's doing with the Argentines, but we've got all the Brazilians, right? He can see, of course, that we've got holes in our defense, so probably the opportunity for him to step in and play goes much higher up. And I bet a little bit selfishly, he's maybe glad that Dusan doesn't get over the line because now he has sort of a clearer path to get there. The other thing, too, that I think people are not thinking about it is he's fit right now, guys. They're in season. Flamengo has been training constantly. They have 1,000 competitions they play in at the start of the season. They just lost Supercopa yesterday. That was a whole rigmarole and what that was all about. But they started the Brazilian season. Their first game is on Wednesday. They've started that already. They started the season with the regional cup that they normally do with all the Brazilian teams. They're currently in that regional cup. Iago did play in, I think it was 2 or 3 of those regional cup games. So he's recently has had game time. So that's great for us because then that's less that he has to get up to sort of fitness level. The only thing he has to learn at this point is, where does Oscar want him? How does Oscar want him to play? How's he going to play with Brecalo, we assume, right, if he's going to step into the starting lineup. So those are all the great things that are about it. What was really interesting about this rumor that I'm not sure Luis touched on at the top was some of us thought this was dead. Like, I wasn't getting any responses from anybody about any of this. Wow. We went through the whole week and got nothing, and we were like, what's going on? I know Luis and I talked privately, and we're like, we're not hearing anything from any of our people in Brazil. So it was really strange. Like, it was almost like it was dead. And then, like Luis said this morning, all of a sudden, there was the first report from, and I'm sorry I don't have her name in front of me, but there was a report from a woman who covers Flamengo, Monica Alves. Mm-hmm. She covers Flamengo for one of the outlets there, and all of a sudden she said, talks are back on, everything's good to go. Because the latest Yeah, because the latest that I heard, just as a last sort of point before I turn back to Luis, the latest I heard was that, and we had said this in the last show, the only person that hadn't signed off on it yet was their president. He goes by the name of BAP, I think it is. He was sort of the last guy to sign off on it. From what I heard personally was that he was holding off on that to get, what was it, Paqueta? Is that the one they brought in?
Lucas Paqueta,
Yeah, they brought him in and they were trying to get that over the line. If you guys didn't know that, it took them weeks and weeks of negotiation to get that done. And some of the details I think came out today about he had to give money back.
It's
And
the biggest transfer in Brazilian football history.
So that was really where the focus was for Flamengo. They put almost everything else on pause and was like, let's get this guy in here. Let's get this guy in here. Let's get this guy in here. So that could have been part of the reason why too. But then the other part too is that Orlando was just in Mexico for the week. And we know Ricardo wanted to be with the team, be with the boys, all that kind of stuff. That sort of bonding with him and the team is also important, even though he's not a coach. So yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere, but really interesting like way that the day went for this for sure.
Now, obviously, John, what are your thoughts on Iago hopefully signing with Orlando City? It seems like, per Brazil media, they're saying it's pretty much done. So it's pretty much already kind of announcing it. But again, things could change. I mean, this is a pretty good prospect, man. I mean, it's pretty good signing.
Yeah, David would say like it all went a bit quiet. I call that like the quiet before the storm, which is what happens always before like so much information, like it's gonna happen, and then like nothing, and then it's done. Like it happens so many times with signing, so I don't always count it out if it's gone dead until it's like officially come out that it's dead. And yeah,
so are you telling me James is still sneaking around there? Just kidding.
No, but for Iago, I mean, I got nothing to add. I'm pumped. I think that the door is wide open for him to come in and be a starting center back. If we're gonna maximize these U22s and these young Brazilians we're bringing in, we got to play them. So, and again, like we were talking about before, if Oscar doesn't have other center backs and he's playing Iago because he has to, that's great because I think we should play him. He's probably if we sign him, next to Breklo, he'll probably be the best option at center back.
Yeah,
even when Jansen comes back, remember he's not been what he was, in the past.
Yeah, and it could be again a pass of the baton, right? A passing of the torch. There you go, passing of the torch. Thank you, Robin Viking. He had like probably, I don't know if anybody bought the Viking gear, that came out, but. I know. I'm like, keep it because it's gonna be legendary. All I'm saying, but
I got my Jansen memorial shirt.
Yep. I want to ask you guys this because this just came out from Portugal. You guys are gonna laugh. Are you guys ready? Diario Record from Portugal. Record from Portugal. This is a legit source. I'm not joking. Record.pt. Cristiano Ronaldo is dissatisfied at Al Nassr and will leave the club in June, according to Record Portugal. He has hinted a move to MLS or possibly return to Europe with a 50 million release clause. The discontent stems from the treatment given to Al Nassr by the Saudi Arabia Islamic Investment Fund, which controls the country's major clubs, hinting that Al Nassr is now going to have reinforcements by next season. Cristiano believes they have been hindering reinforcements to prevent Al Nassr from winning the title, and they're just 1 point behind the leader. So, throwing it out there because it's gonna happen. You're gonna read it on Facebook. Should Orlando City go for Ronaldo? Go ahead, John.
I'll no, but yes at the same time. I don't really know. I mean, Ronaldo is the only guy where I'd just be like, I don't care what he is because he's gonna sell so many jerseys and put so many eyes on our club. It's like if you sign Messi, it's the same thing. So in terms of what he could do at 40 years old, and would I sign a whatever he is aged player? would not be my preference, but if there's exceptions to the rule, it's probably Ronaldo. I don't see it ever happening. The only reason he would come is just because he wants to sell the vibes of like Messi. Basically, Florida will become the Penaldo state, and everybody will just always like the message boards will just be full of Pessi and Penaldo people.
What about you, David? You're not laughing. I'm just having fun.
Is he gonna bring Rafael Leao with him? I mean, I don't. I mean, if we start getting if we start getting Ronaldo and friends, sure. I mean, I would love the friends more than the guy himself. But again, this listen, I'm gonna be very clear. Would I love the idea of Ronaldo wearing purple? Sure, that's gonna be great. It's gonna add a bunch of things, whatever. He's super fit, whatever, fine. Here's the thing though. It doesn't fit the DP that Ricardo and everybody else has been talking about the entire offseason, right? There was an article that came out a couple of days ago when Alex Freeman got sold, where Ricardo said they were really going to do their due diligence to make sure they brought in the correct DP, and it was going to be a different style DP than what they've looked for before. Cristiano Ronaldo is not that DP. I'm sorry, guys. I just broke some hearts out there. I apologize. But he is not that DP. Is he going to go and lead the other young players around him? No, he absolutely has no desire to do that at all. He's not doing it at El Nassr right now. He's literally bad-mouthing the ownership because they won't bring him more players to come play around him. What do you think he's going to do here if he comes here? It's just not going to be any different. He's just going to be like, who the hell is Thiago? Who the hell is Brian Ojeda? Who the hell is the other Ojeda? I don't know any of these people. I don't have this person and that person and whatever. Now, if he wants to go and build like a, Portugal national team 2.0, sure, bring in Rafael Leao, bring in all of the defenders that you want to bring in that are Portuguese. Sure, absolutely. But come on, I get it. He likes the idea of it. Some team in MLS will 100% pay him all the money that he wants. I'm sure MLS will get involved, and Darn Garber will get on his hands and knees and beg to him that he comes to MLS. And I'm sure the rivalry between Ronaldo and Messi will be of all time. I don't know that I want Orlando involved in that.
Think of an LAFC player to me. That's where I think he'll
could be.
Like if he's coming to MLS, LAFC is the one, I think.
Could be.
100%.
Or remember when SKC was the leader in the clubhouse to sign him when those rumors came out before he went to Saudi Arabia? Apparently SKC got close to bringing him over and stuff, and I'm just
that was wild. That's not
he's not going to Kansas City. I don't think so.
Call, but I'm not interested.
Right.
Now, we're going to read some comments, and then we'll continue with some transfer news. I respect how badly he wants to win the Saudi championship when absolutely no one else cares, says Frankie. As a Ronaldo fan, says Kenneth Allen, I could only wish OCSC would become $1 billion club like Miami. Yeah, I mean, could be, but it's a double-edged sword because these guys coming, like David and John are saying, not to develop or to help out. He's definitely not going to do the Nani. You know what I mean? He's definitely not. Now, even though Nani could tell him he's his best friend, Nani is the godson of one of Ronaldo's kids. So he's they're best friends. Ronaldo was in Nani's wedding. Nani was in Ronaldo's wedding. So what I'm saying is there is a connection there now. But Nani was a little bit different than Ronaldo on that level. Like he did help out a lot, put the team on his back. Now, is Ronaldo at 41, 42 be ready to do that? I really don't know. Ricardo is secretly building a full team that can speak Portuguese, he says. I'd rather not have Ronaldo, but the rivalry between us and Miami will be even more intense, says Copacitic Buddha. Yeah, I totally agree. Give CR7 to OCV, says Landon. Sue, says Frankie Cousins. Orlando really does seem like a great fit for Iago. If he does have the potential to go to Europe, Orlando will provide the play time for him to show his stuff. Yeah, there were some rumors that Brentford wanted him also, but Brentford wasn't going to guarantee the minutes he wanted. He wants to play. He wants to ball out. And so Orlando is going to definitely put him as a starter, 100%. I mean, I think Orlando has no freaking choice right now. It says Sage. There you go, my friends. It's not replacing for him. I want him back into the Orlando City. There you go. He's talking about Paco Torres, I'm sure. There you go, Sage. Appreciate you. Sidebar, for a long time fan, seeing this Brazilian culture coming back is terrific. It's basically key. Thank you so much. But now, we're gonna jump real quick.
Luis, if we build an all Portuguese team, we can bring Tite in finally. Done and done.
Yeah, we could.
I just wanted to pull on that string because I know you're like, he doesn't speak English, so like, how's that gonna work?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever it takes, right? But I just don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to hire a translator. You know what I mean? I mean, it could happen. Like, I'm not against it. I just think I mean, you're trying to develop the next Alex Freemans, right?
Right. Well, I think it depends. Yeah. I think you're either on that path or you're on the path of you go out and get a bigger name coach who can attract talent, right? If you bring the right coach, like it's sort of what Tata did the first time he was in Atlanta. He hasn't done it as much this go round, but when Tata came in and was like, oh, all these people wanted to go play for Tata in Atlanta, it's kind of a similar approach. Like, do you bring somebody in who players go, I want to go play for that guy? Like if Poppy gets the short hook or whatever it is, you know, because no offense to Poppy, but I don't know how much pull he's got in those spheres. So, you know, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to think about for sure.
100%. So we're going to be talking next about some of the lineups that we've created based on the depth that we have for this season. Let's start with the first one. This is John's lineup. John can talk about it. It's 4-2-3-1. Poppy special, you know, Wawa special.
Yeah. I mean, I see Ryan Schmidt here asking if there's anything we can get from preseason about formations or I will be shocked if it's not a 4-2-3-1 with Ojeda and Brian and Cartagena in the D mids, double pivot, double sixes. I think the question marks are in the back line. And maybe a few other positions that we'll talk about. For me, this is what I want to see. I think No Angulo will be popular in the chat, but he has been reported to be very good in preseason. So maybe Spicer is still going to have to sit out, but I prefer Angulo off the bench. I just think he's more effective against tired legs, and you can deploy him in multiple places. And like we talked about with Taifi, outside of that, I don't think there's a lot of debate really, like maybe a different striker, but I'll let these guys talk about theirs. Let me bring David's up here.
So Daniel Vega says Jurgen Club to OCSC. It says Donnie Moore, V Messi, in-state rival, come to Orlando CR7. Hopefully, I wouldn't like if it does happen. I don't think Orlando's going to pay $50 million. I think he may be a part owner. I mean, that's the only way I could see Orlando.
He'd have to get I think anywhere he goes in MLS, he'd have to get a Messi deal. They'd have to give him a cut of something, and for sure. And Don Garber would do it because he
likes to
imagine Ronaldo in like the Magic game. Like that would be the wildest thing ever.
We'll give you the Orlando Storm.
Hey, it's either that or he's going to current games. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do in Kansas City if he's going over there.
Unlimited public subs and Orlando.
His kids will be fed.
There you go.
I think I got David's lineup here.
Angulo and the Jews beefing up to play. There you go, Frankie. Okay, so we have the David's lineup right here. So
so I went more conservative a little bit. I went what I think Poppy's going to more so go for, which is put Angulo on the left wing. We've seen him a ton in preseason. There's clearly some kind of connection they want us to make there. I think they're going to let Angulo ride as much as they've given him the warnings and as much as they told him, hey, you're going to be the guy that's going to take the backseat. I just don't see Oscar doing it. He's going to find a way to get Angulo on the field. So I think this is how he's going to do it. The only other big change that I kind of had on mine is I actually flipped Iago and Brecalo. And the reason I did that is I think personally Brekalo is a better right center back than he would be a left center back. Because Iago has played a lot more of his time split between the two. And I think he really has the right tools to be a pretty great left center back. And then also to add on to it, I think Iago gets sort of the extra cover of Marin. And by that, I mean, Marin has been pretty solid all preseason. He had a really solid game against Lexington. From what we understand against Fury, he had a really solid game against Fury as well. Let's see how the next preseason games against Cincinnati and Nashville, those will be good tests for the club. But we'll see how those go. And then Montreal will be a nice test for all of, well, season ticket holders to see, of course, what that looks like. But I think he'll get the extra protection of Marin over there. And then Brekalo will be able to help cover for Taifi if Taifi needs coverage and what that looks like. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see what that's going to be. My only wish in this lineup that I did not put on here because I just think it's a super long shot is I would start Thiago at left wing. And I know people are going to think I'm nuts, but I'm telling you all, the way that kid plays and how direct he is with the ball. Yes, Spicer showed us that a little bit at the end of last season and did well there, and obviously should probably be the leader in the clubhouse for that role. Thiago can finish like nobody's business. The kid has another level to him. Unfortunately, he has been hamstrung by the fact that Oscar continues to play him as a striker up top in preseason, and I don't understand why. It's not his best position. His best position is clearly on the wings, and they're not giving him a chance to do that. To a degree, I understand because they want to put Harvey in some spots. They want to get Harvey some time. That's another sort of wild card. I think I forgot who said it in the chat. I think it was Kenneth. He was kind of asking, or somebody was asking for Ryan. Ryan was asking for kind of wild cards or what might be in there. Don't be surprised if maybe Poppy tries to find a place for Harvey. I don't know if it's a starting place, but it could be one of his first moves off the bench because he really seems to like getting Harvey involved in a lot of these preseasons and where he can fit him in. We heard from sources that he apparently tried out right back for 20 minutes or whatnot in Mexico. I don't think it went well based on what I heard, but he's trying to get him on the field. So yeah, it'll just be really interesting. But yeah, if I had a wish, like a real wish, I think Thiago is my starter at the left wing. And I think you guys see this kid bang in goals because he is super fit. He plays super direct. He's going to basically be like the opposite of what Pasalic is. Pasalic has got that weapon of a left foot when he cuts in. Thiago's going to cut in the other side and he's going to bang in goals. And then Maguire's just going to feast on anything that just gets close to that sort of 18-yard box. He's just going to, like Pac-Man, he's just going to be like eating up all the dots as he just goes through, and he's just going to start banging all those things in. And then, of course, Ojeda with his magic that he had, you know, when he continues it into this season, you're going to see some fun stuff here. But yeah, I think mine a little bit closer to maybe what Poppy would roll out because we all know he loves Angulo, so yeah, he's got to be on the pitch somewhere.
I'm trying to manifest a different left winger, David. You're not helping me here. You know, you can't just put Angulo up there. The chat doesn't want to see that.
I know.
No, I'm kidding. I totally agree. Like it's most likely gonna be Angulo because Papi loves his guys. And I want to say what you said on Thiago. I think it's just that we have no other strikers and he's fearful to play Maguire all the time, right? And so Thiago is just now,
I'd honestly rather play Harvey because Harvey in his first year at Georgia Southern played a lot of second striker and up top. So I'd much prefer to see something like that. But then also if you get
Ellis playing up there in his
preseason, I was going to say, if you get Justin Ellis over the line, I think you feel better about, okay, I can put Thiago and I can put Harvey in other spots that's not up top, because I think, again, I just think unless we were playing with two strikers up top, I think then Thiago could feast, because then he could be the free floater off of Duncan. Duncan would be the poaching type, and then Thiago would just be the one that stretches the line and gets in behind and things like that. But we don't play with two strikers. We haven't in quite some time, and I just don't see us going back to it, to be honest. So,
Luis, what's your
let me 11? I'm trying to
just. We had David's experimental one as well.
Oh, I want to talk about that soon, but yeah.
So I have a different editor right here, so because I'll be able to move the pieces. So I kind of want to explain a couple of things. So this is my lineup. Now, this is something that I would like, and I could maybe see Oscar experimenting on. Obviously, now we have Iago. Obviously, Dusan's not there, so we'll put Iago right here. Brecalo, that's your center back pair. Marin, obviously, because I don't really see Oscar diving into another left back. And Ojeda 2 and Carta as your double pivot. Ojeda 1, obviously number 10 right here as your number 10. Pasalic, Thiago. Definitely we need to see Thiago in the starting lineup 100%. I would love to see him as a left winger because that's where he excelled in Bahia, and that's the position I would love to see him on. He could also play striker, so that would be another option. And Duncan Maguire, I think we need to see him score some goals. I mean, he has size. He's been putting a lot of work off season, so we'll love to see Duncan there as well. Now, Angulo as a right back, why? Because obviously, I feel defensively he has improved 9 out of 10 since last season. Also, his runs, if he's not going to contribute offensively, at least contribute defensively. And I think Oscar may be looking into not so much putting him in the wing because there's a lot of depth in the wings now. Not only you have Sucata as well, you have Caraballo, you have all these wingers now and that could also play like some 4-3-3 lineup as well. But Angulo with Spicer, with Thiago, if we think that they're going to pan out the way they are, he's going to have a tough time becoming that attacking minded player that we all want to see. I feel Angulo has an opportunity because tactically he's been so good with Oscar and following his lead that he may become one of those Swiss Army knives for him when it comes to defense, because he's actually did pretty good defending last season. I mean, a lot of running back, getting the ball, going into transition, not losing the ball in the middle of the park. Atuesta was the one who was having all the turnovers. So with the double pivot, maybe they're able to exploit those in that defensive mindset of Angulo and use him to have built a relationship with Pasalic, right? Now, that is something that I feel it's going to happen, but directly and common sensely and based on position-wise and what they've been playing the past few seasons, here it should be Taifi, 100%. Taifi should go here. Now, that's technically what we should see. I agree that this is what we should see. Now, is Oscar ready to put Taifi in against the Red Bulls? That's my worry. Now, I personally, based on what I saw of Thiago in Bahia and Spicer's great last, since he arrived to Orlando, great last end of the run season with Orlando. To me, they're better poised offensively than Angulo, in my opinion. So he went from first in the picking order to third option. So you got to find a position for Angulo, essentially. Now, he's not going to be your 10. He's not going to be your D mid because of size. He may be a wing back. And how that would work, personally, I feel like a wing back may work for Angulo as well on a 3-5-2 lineup. So we've seen, for example, if Oscar wants to change lineups here, again, this is a tryout. We could see if we have Angulo here. We can have Angulo here, and he comes as a sub for Taifi. Cartagena, he's played the center back role before. You have Carta kind of as a third center back here. You have Iago, Carta, and Brecalo. Ojeda 2, and Ojeda becomes here. And Angulo, so obviously I'm going to switch Angulo here. Angulo kind of takes the left. And then obviously we're going to see another winger here. And again, it could be Spicer here, or it could be Angulo here and Spicer on the other side. I mean, again, it gives you more versatility. So I have a feeling that's where we're going to see Angulo next season. I have a feeling, a very strong feeling, also per some sources, that they're going to try to find him a place within the team, coming off the bench, having minutes, but we are not yet. It's not the end of Ivan Angulo. If that's, now a lot of things could change, in the event of him not performing, not even defensively, and just majorly flopping, but common sense wise, in my opinion, here it should be Saktaifi. I mean, it just makes more sense, and I'm on board with David and with John. If it's not now, when is it going to happen? When are we going to see what Tahir Reid-Brown is all about? Are we going to do another Thomas Williams situation? Are we going to wait that long? Imagine we would have had Freeman one season before his breakout season. It could have worked now. It could have worked out even better for us, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in the fact of Angulo's going to find a spot on the field. I think John said it best in our group chat today, and I definitely agree. I just don't know that it's going to start from the jump of the season, because I think Oscar's going to try to start him. But I think Angulo is the perfect person to come off the bench and beat up on a tired defense, right? Like he possesses that speed. What I envision there is like Benji Michel when we used to bring him on late into games, and he would just drive against defenders, and he just had all this speed at the end of the game, and these center backs are just watching him going, where the heck is this guy like coming from? You got to be kidding me. And he's just running past dudes and whatever. The problem that plagued Angulo last year is he just couldn't put the ball in the net. Any big chance that he got, it just didn't happen. So it's just one of those things. Okay, so here's my experimental lineup, and I want to talk about this, and I know some people are going to freak out a little bit, but let me walk you through what I envision here, because this probably looks like a very odd lineup to a lot of people, but I think it gets the best strengths out of Angulo, number one, but secondly, when our defense is healthy, that's my big caveat, when our defense is healthy, this is where this lineup would work. So technically this lineup is a 3-1-4-1-1, which looks really strange, but really the reason I positioned it that way is because really it is a sort of a 3-5-2, but I moved a couple of guys to kind of put them in the better spots. So your back three would be a combination of Brekalo, Iago, and hopefully if Janssen is healthy, a Janssen. If he's not healthy and we're able to fill out the center back core, it could be a Nolan Miller, it could be a whoever the other fifth center back is going to be. It's one of those kind of people there on the field. That's how you get those guys there. Cartagena plays the defensive midfielder role. He is solo in that role, but really when they go to defend, he's going to sort of slide into sort of that back line and really just kind of almost make a back six when they defend, because Angulo and Paslic would both come back to help. And then right in front of them, I have Brian Ojeda and Atuesta, because like I've said in a lot of the things I posted about Brian Ojeda, I think he's a better box-to-box than he is a six. He can play both. Don't get that confused, but I think he's a better box-to-box than he is a six. So in this role, he becomes a box-to-box. Atuesta becomes the deep-lying playmaker, so he's going to fill that other void in that other space. You let Angulo run, because the dude can run for days. We know that, right? So we let him run on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, you let Paslic continue to do what he does best. Come in on his left foot and come inside. Then for Martino Ojeda, instead of being the second striker next to Maguire, he's a little bit farther back on the field, but he's the free-floating 10. He floats where he needs to float. He goes left, he goes right, he goes centrally, wherever he needs to go. And then Duncan Maguire's in the box to pick up any of the stuff that he needs to pick up and all that kind of stuff. So what you see on the screen is sort of what the team would look like going forward, right? So that's how many numbers you would have going forward. Ojeda probably plays a little bit farther up in this sort of diagram. Obviously, Angulo and Paslic become more wingers. They're farther up as well. And then Ojeda and Atuesta kind of settle underneath. Cartagena never really probably gets that high. He probably is like just past the center circle, if I had to guess. And then the three sort of defenders are there. But like I said, when they defend, Angulo, Paslic come back. That makes your natural back five. And then Cartagena drops into the hole in between probably Brekalo or Iago, whichever side he wants to really drop into. He drops into the hole there. Atuesta starts intercepting the passing lanes, and then Brian Ojeda will man mark whichever of the first defenders when they're playing out of the back we'll see, with Martin Ojeda man marking the first center back or fullback that's on the ball. So I just threw a lot of tactics at you. I apologize. I don't really have the visual for that, but that's sort of what I envision if Poppy ever wanted to get out of his 4-2-3-1. Do I think this is realistic and Poppy's going to roll this out? No, I don't think there's a chance in any world or any universe, but I think with the talent that we're starting to amass, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, with the amount of center backs that we are targeting and the level of center backs we are targeting, this lineup / formation can work if you want to change the way Orlando City plays.
Yeah. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe in Angulo's defensive abilities that much. I gotta say, I don't know where this idea came that Angulo is like a good defender, because I just think he's fast enough to get back there and get in the way. And a lot of the time you had like him covering for a left back who wasn't that good, and it made him look like the guy who was really good. So I don't really think Angulo is the answer as a right back or a right wing back. I just honestly don't want to see him as much on the field. I think he is a guy that is okay, but we have brought in so many players that have better potential than Angulo, and you just need to give them minutes and give them time. And we have so many wingers like we talked about. So maybe he's a stopgap at right back. I want to move on from him, man. I want to stop talking about Angulo, because I don't think he's that good.
You want to stop talking about Angulo, but he plays in Orlando City.
It's the truth, man. I'm just over it. I'm over Angulo. Like, he's fast, and that's it. That's all he's got. That's all he's ever had. And I think that's been enough for him, and because Oscar loves him. But new version of Orlando City, this Orlando de Janeiro, for me, does not involve, Ivan Angulo. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. I think why people think Angulo's defensive stats are better than they are is because if you do look at sort of like the percentile rankings and stuff, he ranks in like the 89th percentile in tackles for wingers, right? He ranks in the 77th percentile in recoveries, and that's something that you see a lot, right? He ranks in the 87th percentile is for wingers,
right? But that's what I was about to get to.
He's not a fullback, right?
And I'm glad you got to that, because that's what I was about to get to. It's for his position group. Yes, absolutely, he has those good numbers, and a lot of fans will see the recoveries, right? They'll see the recoveries, the tackles, things like that, right? But when you look at the rest of his defensive statistics, they're not good. Dribbled past, he's in the 20th
defensive position.
He's the 21st percentile in dribbled past for a winger. 21st percentile. That is well below average and not what you want out of defender. Goals conceded while he's on the pitch, he ranks in the 18th percentile in goals conceded while he's on the pitch. Not a good number. I know, more of a team stat, but again, not a great number when you're looking at it. So I understand if you're just looking at the eye test, you're thinking, okay, maybe he's good. He's a good defender. Maybe he can figure it out and things like that. But I'm in John's camp of, I don't want to go make this huge roundabout way to find a way to get him on the field if there's just not a spot to put him on the field, right? And even in this scenario, right? I saw Ruben brought this up, and I'm glad you did, in terms of like the burnout and things like that. And even in this sort of formation, you don't need both wingers to track back, right? If you have Janssen, Brekalo, Iago, Cartagena, Brian Ojeda steps back a line, Atuesta steps back a line, and since Angulo can run for days, he'll run for days, you can keep the other Ojeda, Maguire, and Pasalic farther forward, and they don't need to do all that kind of work, right? That's sort of what my experimental formation was all about, is you can switch and move the defensive triangles and what that looks like. It doesn't matter anyway, guys. Poppy's not going to do it, so who cares? But this was just a fun way for me to try to find ways to get people onto the field. But like Luis and I said, I would like a much better productive winger. We saw that in Tyrese Spicer last year, right? Spicy T gave us a lot of great moments. He had a really nice goal against Chicago, even though that game was basically a crapshoot.
Right, offensively though.
Yeah, but here's my thing.
Yeah, you have a coach though that he's very cautious. Right? So but
if your trust but let me say this, if your trust is in Marin, right, to go forward, which is
not in Marin.
No, but I'm saying the coaching staff looks like they trust Marin at this point. So if that's the trust,
yeah, I know. I just think people are putting too much faith on Spicer defensively. I mean, it could change this year.
But why ask him to be defensive? Because you no longer
In Oscar Pereira's you have to play.
But Luis, he doesn't, because the problem is the reason why Oscar's system has worked the way it has is because last year we let Alex Freeman run wild. We didn't ask him to do anything that we didn't want him to do. But you don't need to do that now because Taifi is not. No offense to Taifi, but he's not that level of offensive talent. Marin is not that level of offensive talent going forward. So you don't need them to travel as far forward and get into the opponent's final third. So if you're asking them to kind of play back a little bit more, or if you're only sending one of them. Right? Because last year we didn't really send Brekalo. You can play a little bit more defensively and get away with that. You don't need your winger to necessarily track back.
No. If you get Spicer to do the treading back, and he's still performing what he's been doing when he first joined the team last year. Yeah, he's gonna have a big headache because you're gonna have Thiago on the left. You're gonna have who are you gonna start? And I guess that's a good problem to have. Right. Because and again, if Angulo doesn't perform and he's still mediocre, just like the fandom says, mediocre by far offensively, right? Angulo's gonna be third, fourth on the totem pole, and then we're not gonna see him probably next year. So I think, and not only that, you're talking about Sukata as well. Yeah, like, and again, I said it on the last spot as well. I feel like if Sukata would have not gotten injured, we would have been, I think Spicy T would have not come down.
I don't think so either.
But I do feel the steady decline of Angulo is something to be studied. I personally think he botched it. But again, it's a player that it helped us at a certain point. But obviously, this is the reason we were talking off topic. This is the reason, guys, why he never made it in Brazil. You know what I mean? And I think, like John was saying, it is if he's not performing the way he's expected to, whether he's super tactical and super Oscar's dude, eventually, he's going to die by the sword because other guys are going to overshadow him, especially offensively in his system. So this is Angulo plus Gam for Kamal Miller, the return. I mean, I'll take him, be more completely honest. I'll take Kamal Miller back. I'll take Richie Larea as well. So Pasalic will burn out if needed for defensive role. Also, Pasalic needs to be less predictable. Everybody knows about his left foot. Is he becoming like Facu Torres 2.0?
No, I just think more so. I think he had more of a burnout last season because I just think the season got really long for him. Yeah, and like with a lot of guys, I know the national media guys talk about this a lot. Like Goss and Bogert talk about this on Soccer Wise a lot. Goss has his Goss theorem, like where it's basically like wingers or attackers in general. Their second year is normally better than their first year because they get used to the league, they understand how it works and all that kind of stuff. And also, don't forget too, Pasalic started hot, man. He scored a brace. And what was it? His opening game, he had a brace and like really, pushed forward. And then he got a little predictable in the midseason, but the whole team stalled like after Leagues Cup. So like everybody basically fell asleep and we didn't know what to do there. I'm not ready to say he's so predictable yet that he's like a Facu Torres, but I do think he does need to open up his game a little bit because once teams start to get to like know that he wants to go left and go on his left foot, he's got to open up or he's got to try something different.
Angulo will come in when parking the bus. Yeah, I mean
he's a good counter player.
Yeah, I hope we don't. I don't think anybody wants to see that in the first game of the season. But again, it comes. It doesn't. You gotta be. A win's a win, right? I would rather win all 3 games coming up 1-0 and park the bus in the second half. But winning, it's what really matters, in my opinion. I guess that's the way I see it.
I want to beat the brakes off of Miami. I'm sorry, I don't want to park the bus against Miami. 100%. I want to go out there and hang 4 on them and make them look stupid.
100%. Richie Larea was an attacker in Orlando. Bro's a defender now. Angulo probably shares his fate. There you go. I would love to see Angulo play as a right back. Last season, we saw him put some good defensive work despite struggling offensively. This Copa Secti Buddha. Thank you so much. But we have 2 more topics. We're going to be talking about the final whistle grand opening, which I saw and it was amazing. Kickoff to soccer already started. I saw a lot of pictures online for it. It seems like a really, really neat place to go and have a brewski. And I guess, look at that, man. I mean, that's pretty sweet. I wonder where they got all of that. That's pretty sweet, man. Like, do you have that many scarves, John? Because I have a couple, but I don't have
I'm
that
pretty
many.
sure
Those
those
are
are
like
the
from all the
scarves.
eras.
I think they're the scarves from the scarf wall in the office, honestly. I genuinely think they just lent them all to off. If I go to the stadium and go to that office, I bet you they don't have any scarves on the wall. But yeah, this is a really cool pop-up bar. I don't know, like old school Orlando people remember Dexter's in Thornton Park way back, and this was the Dexter's location, and I used to go there for brunch all the time when I worked at the club. Me and my brother we lived in Thornton Park. We'd go eat brunch there. Since then, it's been like so many different things. It's owned by a local company who is working with the club, and they have it as a pop-up bar anyway. It's usually a reindeer bar at Christmas time, and so they basically just made a deal with the club to have an Orlando City pop-up bar, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think they should just leave it up because the World Cup's coming, and just keep going. I think that's probably what they're thinking, is that they want a soccer bar with the World Cup coming up. So they've done a pretty good job. I think there's some really cool decorations, including Mr. Logan Miller of the ILF snapping this pic of the blueprints for a rotating lion statue. Don't tease me like this. This is not. No, show me the real thing, or just how dare you? What kind of disgusting, horrible tease have you done here, Orlando City? You know what we want.
Terrible tease. Terrible tease.
Mean. This is just mean by you. So unless you give us a statue, I don't want to see the plans.
Put some of the Freeman money after all the GAM gets dropped in. Some of the Freeman money needs to go towards the lion.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it right now, biggest issue I've ever had with our ownership. How dare they not give us a
awful
rotating lion statue? Come on.
I mean, are they gonna get rid of that that cube or whatever right of Gate D with the solar panel? So they're gonna get rid of that and put the lion rotating lion?
Dream that one day they'll just do it. Like
I thought
tell us, and then we'll.
I thought the lion wasn't the lion supposed to be on one of the corners, and then as the game started, it was like supposed to pivot into the stadium or something like that.
Disney club is right beneath the box.
Yeah,
where the screen is. I mean, so many things happen when they're planning the stadium because there was not even supposed to be like an upper level to the south side of the stadium, and there's a lot of changes they made, and when they did, the rotating lion statue got cut, and yeah, I mean, it's one of my biggest gripes with the club, always has been. And I think we joke about it, but I actually want this lion statue. So
same.
Let's say we use our platform for good. If we can have anything happen because of LPO, if it's because we get a rotating lion statue, job done. I'll retire.
Let's we'll search out Jared and Ricardo at the jersey reveal, and we'll say, hey guys, let's talk to you about this. We'll bring them right over to it, and we'll say, let's chat about this. How can we make this happen?
I mean, we have the 3D lion come.
Bring me rotating lion statue.
I mean, we have the 3D lion at the games. The one that comes into the, every time the 3D lion comes out,
not the real thing.
Yeah, I know, not the real thing. No, that's funny. But definitely, it's for the World Cup, John. I mean, they're doing that for the World Cup. I think now there's going to be some friendlies for the U.S. men's national team. I heard some rumors coming from Peru that Peru may be playing a friendly with the U.S. men's national team in June, and Orlando may be one of the locations. Now, again, I don't know if it's going to be Interco Stadium, or I would think it would be. I mean, the national team already play there, but I heard there's going to be Brazil's going to have games at Camping World. I heard too.
Yeah,
like there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming up.
I think against Croatia, right? If I'm not mistaken, was that game against Croatia?
Croatia, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
should be a good one.
A new jersey.
Oh boy.
A new white jersey.
We haven't officially confirmed this, but I'm going to try and be there on February 10th. And I know, Luis, you talked about maybe coming out. and maybe David as well. So maybe we.
I am also trying. Yeah,
to be LPO on site live for a jersey launch. That could be good.
An IRL.
Well, and also Luis,
the final whistle that we just.
Luis, let's not say this. It may not be white because I don't know if you guys saw the tease of Portland's away kit, but Portland's away kit is not white. It is an off like light green. It's not. It's very different from their dark green that they have. Yeah. So it looks like Adidas might be tweaking people's away kits a little bit. Might be going away from just the pure white kit. So maybe we get something a little different this year.
Technically, you only have to have a dark and a light kit.
That's correct. Yeah.
And with a third kit, that can be whatever we want. So,
give me gold. Give me gold.
I will say right now, you bet on red or bet on black, and you will win some money. So,
yeah, I mean, I would love for it to be, an all white kit, because obviously it cannot be purple and red. So the third one is probably maybe red. Hopefully. I just kind of like an homage to the original Orlando City jersey from USL, and still we can keep that logo, the 3 lion logo. That'd be amazing. I would love it. I would love it.
I think a black kit would sell more, but a red kit would be more nostalgic. I'd buy either.
People have been asking for a black kit for a while, and then with the season change, because we're about to go to the different calendar flip, you might actually be able to wear that black kit for some of the season, unlike now where you'd be sweating your what's off wearing a black kit. So,
there's always going to be people going to say, "Oh, we're wearing all black. Wow, who died?" You know what I mean? Who died?
The other team. That's who died.
Are you like? Do you have like some? Is that how our season's gonna go? Like we're gonna die?
I hope not.
Booty Sweat says Brazil being in town for friendlies means we've got an extra chance to Richarlison. There you go.
He's got to be healthy.
Give me the black away kit.
I'm with you, Landon. 100%.
LPO meet and greet. Yeah, man, we should do it. We should go and grab some brewskis, Frankie. Cause some havoc. Be like. Walk around, the tough streets of Orlando.
I'll be there. We'll see if we can get these guys out.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be there.
If we build a lion statue, please add a flamingo under his. That'd be awesome.
Oh, man.
Great show, guys. Getting more interest. No, thank you, Mr. Rubin. Appreciate you. Always, Mr. Rubin. And this is now. I can't wait for a New Jersey, man. Now, talking about a New Jersey as well. We forgot to talk about before we close. Alex Freeman did. Alex Freeman did just I feel a little sad, man. See him with his Villarreal jersey, and his Spanish is pretty good, man. It's like quiero comer pollo. Aquí estoy. Alex Freeman. I think it's fantastic, man, and such a high upside. I saw it in a really famous show in Spain. They were talking about him, and they were saying he's like an unexpected signing, but based on how he's seen, obviously, in Spain, you're gonna watch the MLS, like, I don't believe you. You're watching that, but they were kind of saying, he excelled in Orlando, and now he's going to be a possible starter for Villarreal. And I'm like, it's super, super proud, man. Like in Spain media, like talking about Orlando City, talking about like our club, also talking about Alex and his work ethic and how insane of a physical phenom he is, and how he's going to take over Villarreal by storm. Man, I wish him nothing but the best, man. I know that he always likes our content and watches us, so we appreciate you, Alex, and hopefully we can have you again here, now as a Villarreal player. Who would have thought, John? You made him that interview. I got sick. I couldn't make it. And then you made him that. You had that interview with him. Literally months after his breakout season, and boom, here we are, Villarreal, man.
There's all these people that doubt Alex Freeman, always doubted Alex Freeman. I'm waiting for them to messaged me with apologies and that I was right. So I just think it's funny that everyone's like, oh, now he's at Villarreal, he's really gonna be able to make the World Cup roster. It's like he was already pushing to be one of the starting right backs with us. So maybe the U.S. men's national team fans can be a little bit happier, but for me, it's I don't think this is going to be a struggle for him. I think he's going to hit the ground running at Villarreal. I think he's that kind of a special player that.
Well, he already made the bench
not
too.
That much of a risk for him, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna. He's the kind of guy that relishes a challenge, and he's been given a new challenge. He's gonna go crush that, I think, and then you're gonna see him in the World Cup, and we're gonna be so proud when it's going on here, just to be like, "There's our boy, there he is."
Yeah, it's good for American soccer. I compare it. I know comparing people is kind of messed up, but he's like the American version of Alphonso Davies. The sky's the ceiling for this guy, and I think it's for American soccer. It's huge, and I think he wanted. Villarreal. Even though I'm not really. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a Villarreal fan or ever followed. I mean, I saw that when Cazorla played there, but then they're not a very boisterous and loud club like Atletico or like Madrid or like even Barcelona, but they're always top 5. I mean, the past 2 seasons, top 5, top 4, and I think they believe Alex is that guy that can maybe take him, into Champions League, and compete. And I mean, hell, he's going to be exposed to. He's going to come back next year speaking perfect Spanish. That's number 1. And number 2, I think he's gonna. The sky's the limit for him. After this, who would think? You imagine him signing for a big club like an Arsenal or like or even like Madrid or Barca? Like how that's like.
Well, if he starts pocketing like Vinny Jr. and stuff, then that's a reality, right? That'll be the nice thing, is that if he can get on the field, he's going to play some pretty good competition on the wings, while he's playing right back. So this will be a really nice, like, raise your level for the World Cup kind of thing. And it only makes the U.S. better going into the World Cup, right? I know everyone just assumes Serginho Dest is going to be the guy like on the right-hand side, but if Alex Freeman plays a great couple of months with Villarreal, it makes the decision really difficult for Pochettino to make the choice. And I think Alex has to be considered for what that looks like. Plus, we saw his flexibility. He was the right side of a back 3 for Mauricio as well. So like he can play kind of both spots because he's a big dude, as we always like to talk about. He's a like a behemoth of a guy. So it just really makes the flexibility makes sense. I just want to see him get some playing time. I know it was the first weekend. He made the bench, which is awesome. So I just hope that he's able to like break into the team and get an opportunity to really go in there and shine and stuff like that. And pocket Vinny Jr., because that would be great. I'd love to have those posters on my wall. As soon as it happens, I'll go to the print shop and get them put up. I'll give you guys a copy too. We'll make sure we're all sharing in that.
Before we go, I wanted to thank every single one of you, 150 people watching live. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, guys.
Make sure you guys subscribe to also John Rollins TV. We're also there, available on all platforms. A lot of good content there, and we're available also on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LP_podcast, Loud and Proud Orlando, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. Make sure you subscribe. Click on the bell for all notifications. We always do some shorts, of this, and I know today we had, people were like killing me about the Kyle Laring stuff.
By the way, Southampton signed him, so he can't be.
Yeah,
that
I know.
I saw. Yeah,
but it was just okay. Thought, people are like, people freaking out over nothing. I'm like, hey, if it's a 6-month loaner, I'm thinking about it, right? 6-month loaner, we don't have nothing to lose. But obviously, Southampton got him now. Good for him.
You don't get back with your ex, Luis. Everybody knows that.
Hey, sometimes you miss a little smooshy smoosh. You know what I mean? It happens. But either way, we want to thank you, and we always got some of the we do some shorts and stuff for the show, some of the topics. But make sure you subscribe also to John Rollins TV. Also, David, he has a lot of good reports that he puts out on our website, aloudandproudorlando.com. So you may want to check it out as well.
Yeah, guys, let me know if you want me to do a breakdown of Iago. I have it sort of in the hopper and working on it, but if anyone just read my Dusan one, 3,500 words on Dusan for a player, unfortunately, that is no longer coming, but you do what you can. But if you guys want to see an in-depth report on Iago, throw it in the chat here, reach out to me on Twitter, Fladoodler18, let me know if you want to see that. I'd love to put one together for you guys and kind of do that. I also was thinking about breaking down some of his game footage because it's a little bit easier to find some of Iago's game footage. So I'm looking forward to kind of looking at that. Also, a couple other quick hit things over on the subreddit. If you're on Reddit with us, we're gonna do. Last year we did a post-season survey to kind of get everyone's feelings about how the season was going. We plan to do a preseason survey that'll be coming up. We're hoping to get that out about 2 weeks before the season starts, just to kind of wait for any last-minute moves or anything like that. But we'll put it out here when it comes out. But we really would love as many people to take it as we can and get as much as the fan base's opinions on what that looks like. And then also, I will be guest appearing either tonight or next week on I'm going to be joining the In 90 Minutes guys on their Extra Time podcast that they're doing. If you guys don't watch them, they're doing an extra segment after their normal podcast where they dive deeper into one or two specific topics they couldn't touch on the main show. That one's being done by John and Luke over there. So they've invited me to join either this week or next week. I believe this week we're talking about youth players, how the youth comes through Orlando City, what that looks like, things like that. So we'll be recording that early this week, and I believe it comes out on Wednesdays. So when that comes out, I'll be sure to share it on my socials and things like that. But I'm excited to join the boys over there and kind of get to chatting with them and sort of get their opinions. One of the things we've talked about a lot, and I know Luis has brought it up, is we're really trying to grow that synergy amongst the entire sort of media landscape that Orlando City has. There's a lot of unique voices in our sort of sphere. So obviously I'm going over there to talk to the In 90 Minutes guys. I know John and I talk to Mike with Lions Den a lot, as well as Eddie. So we like to chat with those guys a lot and everything. Luis talks to Citro when they're at games together and things like that. So a lot of synergy and a lot of things we're trying to grow amongst all the groups. So you might see us pop in and out of a couple of different of the Orlando City podcast. So be sure to check us out. Give us some love over there and really just trying to grow the game and the coverage of Orlando.
Yeah, 100%. And again, we're all here for Orlando City and Orlando Pride, and we want nothing but for both clubs to succeed, especially Orlando City, right? It's what brought us here. And so, yeah, man, I'm happy that you're going to be able to go and spread the word, and delightful. I love it. I think that's what every single podcaster should be doing, so make sure you check that out. It's going to be in David's socials. When it comes to the survey, we're going to put it on our socials also. So, stay tuned for that. And I know John has a new episode for John Rollins TV in the NWSL, which is a good segue because we have the Pride Pod in about 10-15 minutes. So stay tuned at 8:30. We have the Pride. We're going to be having some fun doing some tier list stuff for the NWSL. And again, thank you so much for your guys' support. We appreciate you. We thank you for all the insight, all the comments. Even though you guys got mad about Kyle Aaron coming back. I was just kidding. I was just joking. But thank you, John. Thank you, David. Anything you want to add, John, before we go?
No, I got nothing to add. No.
Oh, there you go.
What?
Yeah, look at that.
There? I don't know what that is. All right.
Oh my God.
End the show.
He looks snazzy in that kit. I'll say that.
Behind the scenes stuff. Don't let them see. Don't let them see Kyle Aaron in the Saints shirt. End the show.
Well,
bye, guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for your support, and we'll see you guys next week. And vamos Orlando. Take care.
Vamos.
See you on the Pride Pod.